shared services model is one that many organisations looking to increase efficiency and optimise performance have adopted in recent times. We're delighted to be joined by Gary Thompson, who has successfully implemented the model in a number of businesses here in the Middle East region. Gary, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your experiences here in the Middle East.
Hi, well, my name is Gary Thompson, and I'm an independent advisor on shared services, service delivery excellence, outsourcing, all the things around support services and enablement within organisations. Something I've been doing now for 20 years in Europe, in Africa, in Middle East and in Asia, and a little bit in the States, although not an awful lot. The reason why is the US is exceptionally advanced in what they do. My experience really stems around the two sides of commerce. The industrial side, working with companies like Budget Rent-A-Car, First Group, Holcim, the world's largest cement company, but also working in banks. I've been lucky enough to work in Barclays, I've been working with Santander, Deutsche Bank, Bank of Ireland. So you see different types of service delivery there. In commerce, you're talking about finance, you're talking about procurement, it's sourcing goods and services for the company. But you're also, in banking, you're talking about actually getting services to the customer, to the end customer. So you're talking about loans, account opening, trade finance, the whole wealth of products and services that you buy from a bank.
Here in the Middle East, only a few companies have implemented the shared services model. Why do you think this is?
The Middle East itself isn't as advanced in using shared services as a model to deliver support or enablement services within organisations. And yet it's actually got very fertile ground to do that. If you can imagine, there's a number of family companies here that are very diverse, and each of them have their own little finance departments, their own little HR departments. So there's always a need to consolidate these together. But they've relied probably on more traditional methods of providing services within organisations. But that's changing. It's changing in a big way. The advent of technology and automation and industrialisation through robotics and AI is accelerating the take-up of shared services within the region.
What would you say are the main benefits of shared services to an organisation?
Shared services can give a lot of benefits to any company. The first thing people look for is cost reduction. It's natural. Shared services has been around since the 90s, and it was a way of delivering services within your company to drive down the cost. That was what it was there for. And then people then went for outsourcing in the early 2000s. That was a big thing, moving your service delivery out to places like India, where you have labour arbitrage. That nowadays can be done in-house, but it's still the number one key. Let's consolidate together and let's bring down cost. But it's gone further now. It's much more interesting. People are now looking towards standardisation of service delivery because it becomes scalable. When it's scalable, you can bring in acquisitions so easy, just suck them in. Also, there's a push towards being able to provide services within your organisation to regulatory compliance. Compliance especially in banking, is going to become very, very burdensome. It's projected by 2020 that it could cost up to 10% of your revenue for a bank to be compliant. So there is a big need to be able to standardise on services and perhaps even automate services to make that compliance better. But overall, in shared services, there's probably one key thing nowadays, what's focused on people's mind: customer centricity. Whether those customers are internal, so they're the users of HR services or the users of finance services, or it's external, it's a bank providing services to its customers in the street. Customer centricity is number one, being able to provide what the customer wants, when the customer wants it, of high quality and the right rate of demand.
What do you think are the biggest barriers to implementation?
One barrier, and a natural barrier to any change in an organisation, is the resistance to that change. You're always going to get resistance. And another barrier, especially within shared services, is predominantly a lack of understanding of what shared services is, what it can do for an organisation, what it can bring them. But also, I've experienced a couple of things that I find quite fascinating. One is what I call the retained organisation, the people within the businesses who are taking services from a shared service environment, feel like they've lost control because they're not managing the people who are actually punching the invoices through, or physically talking to candidates and pre-screening them as part of a HR environment. So that's difficult. And then when you drop down to the middle management layer, there's a big pushback saying, well, you know, I'm a manager because I manage 50 people. You're taking these people away from me. I'm not a manager anymore. So it's a whole learning exercise. You're teaching people to manage functions. You're teaching senior stakeholders to be the purchaser of services rather than the owner of those services. So that's the general resistance that I find in the marketplace, especially here in the Middle East.
If there are companies out there who are thinking about implementing shared services, what would be your advice to them?
Whenever a company considers shared services, I think there's one first key issue that they should address. Understand what your corporate strategy is, what you want to do as an organisation, and then align your service delivery strategy to match that. Going shared services alone, it means you could be heading off in a totally different direction to where the business wants to go. That's not a good idea. So make sure those two strategies align before you even start looking at feasibility studies, before you start looking at what different types of models are available. And those two key issues, feasibility, models, building the business case, again, is the second thing that you should then focus on. And to me, I think there's one other key driver that you need to put into any kind of shared service delivery, and that's performance transformation. Don't adopt poor practices that you may be doing at the moment. Take your business through, your services through performance transformation. Get rid of the fractured and the broken processes that are in there. Put in place a lean management system. Teach your team leaders how to manage their people rather than how to punch invoices or do basic transaction processing. That will drive a huge benefit and will also put you in a position ready to automate.
Can you talk us briefly through some examples, and typically how long is it before companies start seeing results?
Results from implementing shared services can be almost immediate. And it's dependent upon what you're changing and how you're changing it. When I did the work here in the Middle East with the National Bank of Abu Dhabi, we had results within 4 weeks within each area. We put in a lean management environment. We were bringing people together. We were mimicking what you would see as a service flow, which was broken and fractured across multiple departments, bringing the people together, sitting them around a table and letting the flow of process go round that table. So we were driving performance results of 30, 40, 50% efficiencies within a few weeks. Not immediate, because things have got to bed down and people got to understand their new roles. But because we were stood with them, because we were arm in arm with them, it was all, 4 weeks, really, let's be honest, is almost immediate. In other environments that I've worked in, such as the work I did in Europe, the results are more difficult. The results are more difficult because we were creating a shared services environment that was in English, as opposed to Slovak, Hungarian, German, and Polish, where we're bringing the work from. It is in Slovakia, but it's still going to be an English environment. So the people who were doing the work were generally new people. So you're having to bring the work in, you're having to work shadow, you're having to put people out there to bring that work back. Things have got to bed down. Results may get worse before they get better. But after, it was quite a short period actually. After about 6 months, we were seeing the benefits of that collation of work together within Europe. So it depends. It really does depend. If it's local, I think you can really bang it and get good results. If it's taken from a very broad environment, a multi-cultural environment into one shared services, it's going to take you longer.
So for companies looking to implement shared services, where's the best place to start and what resources are required?
The best place I see to start within to deliver a shared services or a performance transformation exercise is start with the feasibility. Is this doable? I've talked earlier about aligning the strategies within an organisation, but really, is this feasible? Is this really what you want to do? Shared services and outsourcing is not about shared services or outsourcing. It's about a combination of both. So you get sourced service deliveries usually within a shared service environment. So look at what is the best way to deliver the services that you're trying to consolidate together, that you're trying to bring for an organisation. Then you need some good resources to do this. You need some good Lean Six Sigma people who can look at a process and make it better. You need some good project managers, people who can transition people, process, IT, technology, work from one area to another. But key to the whole thing is you need good stakeholders, good senior stakeholders who are on side, who are supportive, and who will back up the drive that you're doing to make things better within service delivery.
And lastly, how do you see shared services evolving here in the Middle East region?
Some organisations already have shared services. So in this region, those will naturally evolve in the way in which the marketplace is evolving, which I'll come back to. Other organisations here are just on the voyage of discovery, understanding what shared services can do for them. I'd come across those in doing the workshops in SSON. I come across the people there. It always amazes me that organisations who are very diverse just haven't even really thought about it yet, or are just on that verge of thinking. But the ones who are in shared services, there's a big move in the industry at the moment, a move towards higher levels of automation, a move towards more industrialisation of delivery of services through robotics and through artificial intelligence. Robotics can take over basic tasks, repetitive tasks that are done within any organisation. Here, we've been looking at robotics to do work within the loans environment, going off to the central bank, gathering information about a bank's customers, coming back, being able to do analytic analysis on that data, and then proactively being able to offer loans to customers before they even ask for them. So that overnight switch by a piece of software makes all the difference. With AI is probably slightly more different. They use a lot of artificial intelligence in things like chatbots. Chatbots here are very difficult. There's even a move here within the region to take away contact centres out of Egypt, where predominantly they've gone because the labour cost is cheaper there, and bring them back to the Gulf, because Arabic here is different to the Arabic that's spoken in Egypt. So people want to talk to an environment, a person who can talk the same language. We came across that in Bahrain. Bahrain are doing a big push at the moment to bring in contact centres within the country so they can cover the whole Gulf. So there's going to be some big moves in shared services. Those moves are going to be very much around automation. The big players of automation, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, UiPath, they're all in here. Pega, they're coming into the region, they're establishing offices here. They see it as very fertile ground to move forward in service delivery.